I'm Carolina Leid. Police arrest the mother of 2-year-old Jordan Beliveau and charge her with first-degree murder. Live 10 News team coverage is next.
A 3-day search for 2-year-old Jordan Beliveau ends with the discovery of his body. I'm Katie McCall.
And I'm Carolina Leid. His mother is charged with first-degree murder. We have live 10 News team coverage.
Nightside's Sarah Rosario is in Largo, where police say they found Jordan's body this evening. But first, we want to get to Grady Trimble. He's live outside the Pinellas County Jail. And Grady, you were there when Jordan's mother was booked about a half hour ago.
Yes, Katie, Cherie Stinson was booked here on a first-degree murder charge in the death of her 2-year-old son. Police say Stinson reported her son Jordan Beliveau missing over the weekend. They say she told them a bizarre story about getting into a stranger's car, getting knocked unconscious, and waking up in Largo Central Park on East Bay Drive. Her son, she said, was nowhere to be found. That report prompted a massive 3-day search for the boy. Police even released a sketch of a suspect. That search came to an end this afternoon when Belivau's body was found in a wooded area not far from the mother's home.
I'd like to thank the citizens of Largo and those that responded with valuable information and tips that also helped this case come to a close. Without them, extra ears and eyes out there, I don't think this would have come to a conclusion as fast as it has.
And Grady, you've been looking into Stinson's background. What did you find out?
Katie, I can tell you she was arrested twice just last year, once for resisting arrest and once for violating a court order against her. She was never prosecuted in either of those cases, though, so as far as we can tell, this is the first time she's been arrested for anything other than just a misdemeanor. As for the details of the alleged murder of her son, police wouldn't answer our questions about that tonight. We're hoping to learn more in the days ahead as Stinson appears in court. Live in Pinellas County, Grady Trimble, 10 News.
Sarah Rosario was first on the scene this afternoon where officers ultimately found Jordan's body. Sarah, walk us through what happened out there.
Catalina, the scene is now clear, but just moments ago we talked to some of Jordan's family members, but we were here. I'll get to that in just a second. We were here before officers even started putting up the police tape, roping off this wooded area you see behind me where the body of 2-year-old Jordan Beliveau was found earlier this afternoon. Hundreds of people have followed this case, hoping that he'd be found alive. As I mentioned, we talked to some of Jordan's family members. They tell us they're devastated and numb. But now that an arrest has been made in this case, they're hoping for some closure. Screaming out loud, nearly unable to walk, the family of 2-year-old Jordan Beliveau beyond heartbroken, learning of his death Tuesday afternoon.
Jordan has been found in a wooded area behind me.
The missing toddler's body found after days of searching by air and land. Tuesday, officers continued a 3rd day of search efforts, beating bushes, looking for any sign of the toddler. His mother now faces charges in his death as police say they proved her story of being attacked by a man named Antoine to be false.
Oh, she lied. There was never an Antoine or nothing. She knew.
Jordan's uncle Stefan telling us they're in disbelief.
Sharice, I never thought she'd do this.
But we're going to pray that God will bring peace in this situation and justice.
The toddler captured the hearts of the community as dozens of people waited outside the police tape for any updates on the case. Complete strangers joining in the search efforts like these mothers.
This is a child, so everybody should be out here looking.
But it wasn't the outcome they hoped.
Only good thing I can say is at least he's at peace now.
With no answers as to why, this community mourns Jordan's death, coming together to pray and calling for justice.
We thank you for peace in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Justice for Jordan! Justice for Jordan! Justice for Jordan! Justice for Jordan!
And there are 2 upcoming events to honor Jordan. One is set for tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock at a community center, and the other is set for Sunday. We have all those details and those times on our website, WTSP.com. For now, reporting live in Largo tonight, Sarah Rosario, back to you.
Sarah, thanks. We just got this exclusive video from outside the Pinellas County Jail, which we believe is Stinson, the suspect entering the jail We are told that is Stinson when she left the Largo Police Department shortly before 10 o'clock. This video is from shortly after the jail confirmed that she had arrived just a few minutes before. We expect to learn much more about this case in the coming days. Whenever any new information is released, of course, we will send you an alert to your phone through the free 10 News app.
Switching gears here, Tropical Storm Gordon is now on top of the central Gulf Coast. A lot of eyes on this one. Areas from Pensacola to Mobile and Biloxi, Mississippi are all feeling the effects tonight. But since it made landfall, that storm has not strengthened. The northern Gulf Coast is expecting 4 to 8 inches of rain and powerful wind, but the real concern is storm surge. The National Hurricane Center expects anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. Meteorologist Bobby Deskins joining me now. 5 feet, that's a lot of storm surge.
Yeah, that's above ground at high tide, so that is a lot of water depending on where you are, of course, and that's where the evacuation zones, they probably got people out of there. Hopefully that's the case. It has just now made landfall just west of the Alabama-Mississippi line in Mississippi. There's Mobile, you can see that there. It's basically sitting right in there. There's the center going on shore. In fact, we get in a little bit closer here. There's Dauphin Island here, that right there. And I did want to point that out. There's a tornado warning on just northeast of Pensacola right now. But even closer in here, you can see Dauphin Island right here, kind of clipped over the west side of that, and it's moving on shore. That's Alabama, that's Mississippi right there. So you can see it's right near the line. Most of the rain is on shore. It is getting slightly better for Pensacola, but they have had a rough night of it. The 11 p.m. numbers still at 70 miles per hour. It will not get any stronger. It will now steadily weaken as it's over land, and you can see that by tomorrow morning we wake up, we'll be looking at a 40 mile per hour storm over their area, 30 mile per hour winds with it by Wednesday evening, and then it becomes a rainmaker as it moves up the central and eastern half of the United States, especially the Ohio River Valley. We've had a couple of showers this evening. Most of them are gone now. More rain tomorrow afternoon, and the tropics staying busy. I'll have a look at that coming up.
I'm with Alex Miranda, and people are sharing their views on social media.
Yeah, and the scenes on social media have obviously gotten more intense as the day has progressed. Now, of course, it's made landfall. Let me show you what I've taken a look at so far. Johnny tweeted this video right here. Let me just click play on it so you can watch it. Of Gordon coming ashore at Gulf Shores, Alabama. Not only were the palms swaying forcefully there, you could see that. Take a look at what the wind is doing to the water in that pool. Here's another video. I found this one in Dauphin Island, Alabama. The winds look intense. As you can see, they're beating up against that pier and against that sawgrass there. And as more pictures and videos come in, we will share it with you on our 10 News WTSP Facebook page.
Things got heated during the first day of confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. But before Kavanaugh could even make his opening statement, Democrats tried to suspend the hearing, and things almost turned into a free-for-all.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to be recognized to ask a question before we proceed.
You're out of order. I'll proceed.
We cannot possibly move forward.
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
When will we review Senator Blumenthal's motion to adjourn?
I make a very clear and simple motion to move into executive session.
Democrats are upset after the White House refused to release all documents related to Kavanaugh's time with the Bush administration. They are also worried he'll help overturn landmark court decisions like Roe versus Wade. Republicans hope to have Kavanaugh on the bench by October 1st. We're also keeping an eye on the day's other top stories. There's outrage over Nike making Colin Kaepernick the face of its 30th anniversary Just Do It campaign. On social media, videos of people destroying their swoosh brand clothes and shoes, some even calling for a boycott. All of this as others are supportive of Kaepernick. Nike shares are down by over 3% today.
Polk County Public Schools is changing the requirements for bus drivers. Tonight, the school board voted to raise starting pay to $13.40 an hour. The district also plans to lower educational requirements in hopes of attracting more bus drivers.
$1 trillion. That's how much Amazon is valued at. The company's stock gained 2% today, and it's over $2,000 a share. Amazon is the second U.S. company after Apple to reach $1 trillion in market value.
These days, we put a lot of money into our digital downloads.
Well, soon some Floridians won't have access to the digital music they paid for. Imagine paying for something only to have it taken away. Well, that's the case for thousands of inmates in the Florida prison system. Downloaded songs, poof, gone. Some of those on the inside tell me few people really care about this because, quite frankly, they're prisoners.
I wore it all the time. I listened to it at any available opportunity. It takes you out of there.
Kyle Williford's mom and sister spent about $500 for an MP3 player so that he could have music while he served his 7-year sentence for burglary. Now out of prison, he told me other inmates' families spent thousands of dollars for theirs.
It's kind of like what I went to prison for, taking something that was not mine, something else that somebody bought.
Now the Florida Department of Corrections says inmates will have to return their players and will lose the music they already paid for because they can't transfer it to the new devices. You see, FDC ended its deal with Access Corrections and started a new one with JPay. Each MP3 or MP4 player sold for about $100 and each downloaded song for $1.70. In all, about 30,000 players were sold and 6.7 million songs were downloaded. That's about $11.3 million worth of music. Carrie Calhoun doesn't know how she's going to be able to afford getting a new device and all new music for her husband, who's serving 10 years. Carrie is hearing impaired.
My husband did not come to tonight. He's been over 10 years. We went through 4 MP players and $1.70 per song. So he had over 846 songs.
I reached out to other people in Carrie's situation through support groups for loved ones of those serving time in prison. Dozens responded, including a man named Dustin, serving a life sentence in Hardee County for attempted murder on a law enforcement officer. He says he just wanted to keep his device, the one he already paid for.
They're going to give us a free one of their smaller devices or half off on one of their larger devices and a $10 credit. That's not just compensation. You got 2,500 songs and you're going to get $10. They're missing the big picture. That device belongs to me. That device belongs to the inmate. It's not one company's device or another company's device. I'm not renting this device. I purchased this device. It's mine.
The Department of Corrections has collected $1.4 million in commissions on each song downloaded and other related sales since July 2011. That money was then passed along to the state general revenue. The Department of Corrections says inmates have the option to have their players sent to a non-prison address. So they'll have that music collection, that is, if and when they're released.
All right, we had some storms yesterday afternoon and a little bit of rain yesterday evening from Gordon as it went by. Nothing really major for us. South Florida obviously saw some heavier rain from it and even a little bit of wind. Obviously, this is the bullseye right here. It's making landfall right now. Pascagoula is right about there, and the center's moving just about over there, just maybe off to the east just a little bit. This line right here, that is the Mississippi-Alabama border right there, so it's moving right over top of it, right over Dolphin Island, right in the eye right now. And Gulf Shore is still seeing some heavy rainfall. Here's a bigger picture, and you can see 70-mile-per-hour winds. The forecast does have it continuing to move to the northwest. It's moving that way at 14 miles per hour. That has not changed in the last several hours, but it will continue to weaken, which means it's not as much of a, well, obviously no storm surge threat, but not as much of a wind threat as it continues to move away. So some gusty showers, of course, but it's all going to be rainfall basically from here on out. They are dropping the warnings as this goes. There's still some hurricane warnings from the Pearl River all the way over to the Florida state line essentially, but again, those will be coming down. And the storm surge, and this is what's likely going to get most of the damage out there on the barrier islands, especially from Shell Beach out to Dolphin Island. 3 to 5 foot storm surge was expected, and even backing up towards the Pearl River because the way the wind was blowing, it just kind of forces all the water up there. Here's the rainfall. Now this is about 4 to 6 inches in that swath there, and then it gets even higher in places when you get from Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, perhaps even into Pennsylvania. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because there's another front coming down. It's going to run into that tropical moisture and really squeeze it out. So that's why it's going to be a flooding issue for the next several days. Now for us, we're going to get back to normal. It was a little breezy out there first thing this morning, but then we saw some scattered showers this afternoon. Tomorrow's the same. We start sunny to partly cloudy. We see a few afternoon showers and storms. That's about a 50%, 40 to 50% rain chance for tomorrow afternoon. No big deal, no severe weather. It's a little less than what we've even seen of late. But by the time we get back towards Thursday afternoon, here we go. We've got those afternoon showers and storms back up to about 60% chance. So bus stop forecast looks good in the morning. We'll be in the mid to upper 70s, dry for the kids. Recess, I think, looks good. Getting on the bus to go home, about 30% chance, and that'll ramp up shortly after that. 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, best timing for rain. And we're going to stay warm, obviously, low 90s for daytime highs, and east to northeast winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. About 5 to 10 knots out on the waters, as a matter of fact. Light chop on the bay, 2 foot or less on the Gulf. Although the further offshore you go, remember we had some wind, so it's putting a little bit of swell. There's the tropics, Gordon, right? Florence, 92L. Florence, well, we think it's going to stay out to sea, but we're going to have to watch it. Not exactly sure where it wants to go yet, but watch the European model. This is from the Hurricane Center. So this is 92L, 80 to 90% chance of developing. This is another wave here with about a 20% chance for developing. And the European model has got the African wave train going on. I mean, we've got Florence, obviously, but look at 92L, that one, and then even a third one coming off. Guys, that's through Tuesday, Wednesday. It's about a week from today. So it's going to get active. None of these right now are threatening us, but it's something that we will be watching. Helene, Isaac, Joyce, and Kirk are the next names on the list. 7-day forecast, that rain chance back up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, about 50-60% each afternoon. All right, don't forget, guys, you can catch our forecast on the radio. You can hear it on 105.5 The Dove, 107.3 The Eagle, Magic 94.9, and 106.9 FM.
So, Alex, this kind of surprised me that people were so angry about this, but this guy who starred in The Cosby Show, he played Eldon, who's a pretty well-known character because Theodore Huxtable used to give him a really hard time for being his son-in-law, right? So people were mad that this guy was working at Trader Joe's. Why?
Yes, okay, but they weren't mad at him. They weren't mad at the actor. They weren't mad at his Trader Joe's job. They were mad at the way that many media outlets covered this situation. I'll explain.
Okay.
So the headline, quote, "From learning lines to serving the long line," was just one of them that angered many of you. Some say Jeffrey Owens was being shamed for working at Trader Joe's. Yeah, today the man who played Eldon on The Cosby Show told ABC News he has nothing to be ashamed of. Owens told Robin Roberts that he had to do something to make ends meet. I mean, it's the entertainment industry.
Right.
You're employed one day, you're unemployed the next.
And let's do the math. That was 1992, so that's a long time ago that he had this role. I mean, he was a prominent actor. He was very well known at the time, but that's been many, many years now.
Yeah, since then he's taken on acting jobs, he's taken on teaching jobs, but just not enough to really make the kind of money that he needed to make. So he took on that job at Trader Joe's, and now actors are taking to Twitter to support him and to tell them, hey, we've done it too.
Right.
A lot of people in the business have done it. So Terry Crews said this: "I swept floors after the NFL. If need be, I would do it again. Good, honest work is nothing to be ashamed of." And Tyler Perry came through with a job offer. This is what he said: "I'm about to start shooting OWN's #1 drama next week. Come join us. I have so much respect for people who hustle between gigs. The measure of a true artist." Now, Owens also told ABC News he wouldn't feel right accepting a job because of the controversy. However, he's absolutely willing to go on any audition that might come his way.
Now, from your Suncoast Hyundai dealers, this is 10 Sports.
Kansas City Royals, 46 games under 500. Try convincing Brett Phillips the games don't matter. Oh, Phillips slams into the wall trying to make the play. He'd stay in the game. Get that man a cold pack and a cold one. The Rays trying to catch two teams, the Mariners and Athletics, for the final wild card. To catch the M's, just let them beat themselves up. Literally, tonight the Mariners had a pregame brawl in their clubhouse, while the Rays are one big happy family. And why would they not be? Winners of 12 of 14 entering this one against the Blue Jays. Still a long shot to make the playoffs. We get it. 8 back of the Athletics. Could catch Seattle, though. This game was won in the 7th. Up 1-0. G-Man Choi, the RBI double. Then Tommy Pham triples Choi home. Pham battling an injury hasn't slowed him down. 476 on base the last 2 weeks. He comes home on this Matt Duffy single. Rays blank the Jays 4-0, season high, 12 games over 500. Kevin Cash's team is impressive.
We're getting outstanding pitching performances. It seems like just about every night we're in every ball game because of our pitching and defense, and the offense kind of started to click. I think where we're at right now, we've got guys that are young guys, and you don't know exactly how they're going to come up and play.
Hottest team in baseball. Okay, gamers love to talk trash over the headsets. Will Myers may want to consider going no audio from now on. The Padres outfielder caught bashing his manager Andy Green over a live stream on Fortnite. Whoopsies.
Oh my God, bro, it's so miserable, man. It's insane.
Will, did you hear they're calling out
Andy could not be any worse than he is right now.
Oh, that's awkward. The voice of Myers calling his manager miserable, not realizing the game was being streamed to the entire world. Myers issued a public apology. Green took it well. Quote, "I've done the same thing to my boss at some point in my life. It just wasn't 2018 where everything's recorded. Everything is shared as well." Like this photo. Phil Mickelson tweeting this patriotic portrait today after learning he was a Ryder Cup captain's pick. Tiger, no such picture during his celebration. Mickelson, Woods, and Bryson DeChambeau, the 3 picks to join the 8 automatic 5 top 10 finishes. A final selection will be added next week to round out those 12 Americans. They're going to take on Europe September 28th through the 30th in Paris, France. Get in the hole.
Probably one of the most recognizable pairs of shoes in history. Well, they're finally back with the rightful owner.
This is such a great story. We're talking about Dorothy's ruby slippers, the ones from The Wizard of Oz. The iconic red footwear was stolen from the. I didn't even know about this. From the Judy. Where were we in 2005? The Judy Garland Museum in Minnesota. This happened back in 2005, guys. Over the years, investigators received numerous tips about where these shoes were. Well, none of them ever panned out.
Unreal. FBI agents were able to recover the shoes after a man approached the company that insured the shoes with information. Investigators confirmed the slippers were authentic by comparing them to a pair at the Smithsonian in D.C. It's so great that we have them back. That's some American treasure right there.
Yeah. There's no place like home.
Should we all?
Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.